Hey, this is Laura Labrie coming to you from mysterious Mexico in the city of Merida on the Yucatan Peninsula in the state of Yucatan. Merida is a beautiful city filled with French-styled old homes. Unfortunately, in this last century, a lot of the homes have fallen into disrepair. Not only have they fallen into disrepair, but they've also left behind a lot of ghost stories. Stories of lost love, stories of lost children. And today I want to tell you the story of a woman who lost 2 of her sons. This old home used to belong to Carlos and Rosa Valle. The reason that upstairs light is on is because often the ghost of Mrs. Valles is seen there. And I'm going to tell you why. Mrs. Valles lost her first 2 children. The first one, the oldest, was buried in the family cemetery, but the youngest was buried in the family garden. Rosa asked if they could build a sanctuary as a memorial, and then every day she would bring flowers to the memorial and pray for her youngest son. She was so devastated. She could not stand the thought of losing him. Time passed, and eventually Rosa and her husband Carlos passed away. And the house was purchased by a bank, the Santander Bank. And they did a lot of really nice renovations, restored it to its former glory. Unfortunately, they turned the garden into a parking lot. And when they were doing the work on the house, they found a small crypt in the parking lot in the area that used to be the garden. They notified the family and they took it to the cemetery. However, when it was reburied, there was no religious ceremony, and many people think that that is why the strange happenings began. Not long after that, bank employees began to hear a woman crying, "Where is my child? Where have you taken my child?" Sometimes people saw her in the second-story window. Around the Day of the Dead celebration at the end of October and the beginning of November, people would see the figure of the woman and sometimes hear her crying softly, especially around the 1st of November, which is the Day of the Dead celebration, particularly for children and babies. Usually, there are more women than men that hear this woman crying, and that possibly it's because women have maybe a feeling of what it would be like to lose your child. Sometimes female employees will be leaving the bank late at night and feel someone touching them on the back of their shoulder in the parking lot, and sometimes they might hear someone asking about their son. Now, we went there and talked to one of the employees who had to make sure that no one knew she was talking to us because she might lose her job. She told us that there had been a birthday celebration at the bank and someone was taking pictures with their cell phone. In the cell phone pictures, there was the image of a young girl holding a doll to her chest. The bank employee thought that this was really strange, but as we discussed it, we thought maybe it was a representation of what the woman felt like, the woman who lost her child. Maybe she felt like a little girl, and maybe holding this doll to her chest was what she felt like, losing her son and wanting to hold him tight to her chest. So there you have it, ghost stories in Merida.